I know how it feels to struggle in math. I was just like you. But with hard work, I learned it. Come on, learn math with Teacher Rochelle. Dividing simple fractions and mixed fractions or mixed numbers.
Let us try this.
Multiply these fractions. 6/5 times 1/2 equals 6/10 or 3/5. Remember, in multiplying a fraction by another fraction, multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. Simplify the final answer. Examples. 1/2 times 3/7 equals 3/14. 2/5 times 1/4 equals 2/20 or 1/10. Multiply the fraction and mixed number below. 1/3 times 2 and 2/7 equals 16 over 21. Remember, in multiplying a fraction by a mixed number, change the mixed number to an improper fraction. Multiply the numerators and then the denominators. Simplify or put answers in lowest terms. Example, 3 and 2/3 times 1/7. 3 and 2/3 becomes 11/3. Then multiply to 1/7, we have 11 over 21. Multiply the fraction and whole number below. 1/3 times 10 equals 10/3 or 3 and 1/3. Remember, in multiplying a fraction by a whole number, change the whole number to a fraction by writing 1 as its denominator. Multiply the numerators and then the denominators. Simplify or put answer in lowest terms. Example, 1/3 times 8. Put 1 as the denominator of 8. So we have 1/3 times 8 over 1. 1/3 times 8 over 1 equals 8/3 or 2 and 2/3. Multiply the fractions below through cross cancellation method. 2/3 times 15/20. 2/3 times 15/20. By cross cancellation method, 2 and 20 have a GCF of 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, 20 divided by 2 is 10. For 3 and 15, their GCF is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, 15 divided by 3 is 5. Let us now multiply. 1 times 5 equals 5. 1 times 10 equals 10. The answer is 5/10. In lowest terms, we have 1/2. Remember, to cross cancel, divide the first numerator and the second denominator by their GCF or greatest common factor. Then, divide the first denominator and the second numerator by their GCF. Finally, multiply the new numerators and the new denominators. Always simplify your answer. Example, 3 eighths times 6 ninths. Using the cross cancellation method, 3 and 9 have a GCF of 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. For 8 and 6, the GCF is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Then multiply the numerators. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 times 3 is 12. We now have 3 twelfths. However, 3 twelfths is not yet in lowest terms, so we have 1/4.
Let us discuss this.
Dividing fractions. For example, we have 2/7 divided by 3/4. Let's just copy 2/7. The division sign becomes multiplication sign, and 3/4 becomes 4/3. Now we have 2/7 times 4/3. 2 times 4 is 8. 7 times 3 is 21. So we have 8 over 21. Another example. 5/3 divided by 1/7. So copy 5/3. Divide becomes times, or the division sign becomes the multiplication sign. 1 over 7 becomes 7 over 1 because that is its reciprocal. So 5 times 7 is 35. 3 times 1 is 3. 4, 11 and 2/3. Remember, a reciprocal of a fraction is simply one of a pair of fractions that, when multiplied together, equal 1. Finding the reciprocal is just interchanging the positions of the numerator and the denominator. To get the reciprocal of a whole number, simply write 1 as its numerator. Examples. 7/4. The reciprocal of 7/4 is 4/7. 6. The reciprocal of 6 is 1/6. Remember, to divide a fraction by another fraction, change the divisor to its reciprocal. Next, change the division sign to multiplication sign. Finally, multiply the numerators and the denominators. Always simplify your answer. Example, 1/3 divided by 1/2. 1/2 becomes 2 over 1, and the division sign becomes a multiplication sign. Now we have 1/3 times 2 over 1, and the answer is 2/3. Divide the fractions below. 1/5 divided by 6/7. 1/5 divided by 6/7. Let us have the reciprocal of 6/7, which is 7/6. Then let us change the division sign to multiplication sign. Instead of dividing, we will multiply. 1 times 7 equals 7. 5 times 6 equals 30. Dividing fractions and mixed numbers. Suppose we have 1/2 divided by 2 and 1/3. Copy 1/2 divided by So 2 and 1/3 becomes 7/3 because 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So we have 7 and copy the denominator. We have 3, 7/3. 1/2, the division sign becomes multiplication sign. 7/3 becomes 3/7. So we have 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 7 is 14. The answer is 3/14. Next example. 1 and 1/8 divided by 2/4. 1 and 1/8 becomes 9/8 because 8 times 1 is 1 plus 1 is 9. Then copy the denominator. Okay, the division sign becomes multiplication sign again. And 2/4 becomes 4/2 because it is its reciprocal. Multiply. 9 times 4 is 36. 8 times 2 is 16. The final answer is 36/16 or 2 and 1/4. Remember, to divide a fraction by a mixed number, change the mixed number to an improper fraction. Next, change the divisor to its reciprocal. Then, change the division sign to multiplication sign. Finally, multiply the numerators and the denominators. Always simplify your answer. Example, 2/7 divided by 3 and 1/2. Change 3 and 1/2 to an improper fraction because we cannot do the operation with a fraction and a mixed number. 3 and 1/2 becomes 7/2. So we have 2/7 divided by 7/2. Change 7/2 to its reciprocal, which is 2/7. Change the division sign to multiplication sign. Now we have 2/7 times 2/7 equals 4/49. Divide the mixed number by the fraction below. 2 and 3/8 divided by 2/9. 2 and 3/8 becomes 19/8 divided by 9/2. 2/9 becomes 9/2 and the division sign becomes multiplication sign. Now we multiply. 19 times 9 is 171. 8 times 2 is 16. The answer is 171/16 or 10 and 11/16. Dividing fractions and whole numbers. Suppose we have 1/2 divided by 8. So 1/2 divided by 8/1 because a whole number's denominator is always 1 equals 1/2. So 8/1 becomes 1/8 because 1/8 is the reciprocal of 8/1. Then the division sign becomes the multiplication sign. Then 1/2 times 1/8 is 1/16. Another example, 5 divided by 2/3. 5 2/3 becomes 3/2 because the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. The division sign becomes multiplication sign. So 15 over 2 or 7 1/2. Remember, to divide a fraction by a whole number, change the whole number to a fraction by putting the denominator 1. Next, change the divisor to its reciprocal. Then, change the division sign to multiplication sign. Finally, multiply the numerators and the denominators. Always simplify your answer. Example, 6 halves divided by 5. 5 becomes 5 over 1. So we have 6 halves divided by 5 over 1. Then 6 halves times 1/5. 1/5 because we had the reciprocal of 5 over 1, which is 1/5. And the multiplication sign, then the division sign becomes the multiplication sign. So 6 halves times 1/5 equals 6/10 or 3/5. Divide the fraction by the whole number. 1/3 divided by 2. 2 becomes 2 over 1. Then the reciprocal of 2 over 1 is 1/2. 1/3 times 1/2 is 1/6.
Let us answer this.
Give the quotient of each pair of fractions. Give the quotient of each pair of fractions and mixed numbers. Give the quotient of each pair of fractions and whole numbers.
Did you get them correctly? Very good.
You did great!
Wow, you did a very good job. See you in our next lessons.